All right, Giants Nation. I know everybody's looking at all of the free agency moves that we've made. We're trying to fix the offensive line. We're trying to build a good defense, which I think is the right thing to do. A lot of people feel like we should just make quarterback replacement like the top thing that we're trying to do. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, quarterbacks are the ones that win games and lead teams," and I just say to myself, I don't know if that's the ideal situation for the Giants, because if you were thinking quarterback, then you should have traded Barkley. I said it in my other video. You trade Barkley, you lock into a top 3 pick, because it's hard to win games without Barkley for any of the quarterbacks. Like for all the cheering that you guys did for Tommy DeVito and Tyrod Taylor, I haven't seen them without Saquon Barkley. I don't think they would look good without Saquon Barkley, especially Tommy DeVito. I once saw a statistic for the 3 quarterbacks, and obviously the box is loaded for Tommy DeVito and Tyrod Taylor because they play with Saquon Barkley. So you're going to tell Daniel Jones to throw without Saquon Barkley. That's the most common sense thing to do. I know we like our wide receivers, but we don't have a star wide receiver out there for our mid quarterback. I think mid means okay or bad or whatever. Whatever it is, whatever mid means, it's not good. So if you got Daniel Jones as your quarterback, if you don't have a top wide receiver, I'm talking about a real wide receiver one, not Wandell from Kentucky or Hyatt, the guy who was always open in college. I'm talking about the guy that we should have drafted instead of Neal that plays for the Jets. You don't have a Garrett Wilson who can get 1,000 yards with a quarterback that's worse than Daniel Jones, then Daniel Jones not going to be good. But I think Joe is handling this the right way. A lot of people want him to draft a quarterback in the first round. I just played basketball with my boys. They're also Giants fans, and the OG was like, we need a quarterback with the first pick. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, why is everybody like that? And, you know, he's a longtime Giants fan, long before I was alive. And I think the thing with some parts of the fan base, even the ones that aren't casuals, but they just are so locked into QB because they feel like the league is about the QB because of Patrick Mahomes. There's only one Patrick Mahomes. And if you wanted Patrick Mahomes, part 2, aka Caleb, then you follow the Redskins, or well, Commanders plan, and you lose games. You trade away Saquon Barkley, you lose games. Or an NX, you trade them away and you lose games. That's now off the table. You're not getting Caleb Williams unless something crazy happens. And so you're hoping to get Jaden Daniels or Drake Maye. Some people don't even like Drake Maye because he played for a basketball school, even though that has nothing to do with him because he's actually good. Unlike your problems with Daniel Jones, he's not somebody who only had one school offering him a scholarship. He had multiple offers. He's locked into UNC because of his family. So don't let that make you not want Drake Maye if he falls. The problem with us right now is I don't know if the New York Giants are going to trade up if they see one of the top 3 slide. They might not. They might be content with taking Malik and taking another quarterback later in the other rounds. A lot of people are saying they don't see their favorite quarterback that they would like to be picked at 6 falling. Some of y'all actually want to pick JJ at 6. And there are these mocks coming out saying that he's going to go top 5, which I find to be insane. Because it's not that I don't think JJ is good, but if you're going to college and you're mostly handing off the ball, I know you can throw, but, and you know, people are saying he played in the most pro-ready offense and all this bullshit, but it's just, I don't know, that pick 6, like I really hope the Vikings trade up and get him if the top 3 are off the board and just take that situation away from us, because a lot of people hated Daniel Jones at 6 and they're going to also hate JJ at 6, but I don't think it's going to be as bad because I don't expect JJ to start week 1. But we also weren't expecting Daniel Jones to start when he started. At least the fans were probably crying for it because, you know, we hated Eli Manning. Like a lot of Giants fans don't want to admit it, you know, when they are mad at Daniel Jones. Oh, you miss Eli Manning. No, you don't. When he was playing, you guys hated him. I remember people used to complain all the time. And they were happy to see Daniel Jones on the Pat Shurmur. But those days are gone when we actually had a coach that was focused on offense, unlike that bum Joe Judge. But I digress. Moving forward, yeah, I'm not a fan of JJ at pick 6. Like, I don't understand the obsession with JJ. I've seen Michigan fans that don't like the idea of him at 6. And then I've seen Michigan fans who are like, he's better than you think. I've watched all the games. He's better than you think. He's better than Daniel. I hate that. He's better than Daniel Jones. He's better than Daniel Jones. Like, that's the thing that everybody keeps saying about every quarterback. He's better than Daniel Jones. He's better than Daniel Jones. It's like, do you want the right quarterback, or do you just want to, he's a better than Daniel Jones quarterback? Like, is that what y'all want? Like, that shouldn't, we got to aim higher. If you're looking to replace Daniel Jones, you ideally would have want one of the top 3 quarterbacks. And now we're sitting here waiting for the Patriots to say, hey, I'll take Justin Fields, or we're just going to take Marvin Harrison, which is not a guarantee because I don't think they like the quarterbacks that they have. Who's the guy that they have because they traded Mac Jones? They might have signed somebody in the free agency I'm not even following because it doesn't matter. Those quarterbacks aren't as good as the top 3 quarterbacks in terms of, going forward. Like, what are they going to do? Our plan that we could be doing, which is waiting until next year. I know a lot of people wouldn't like that, but you like it for the Patriots because then maybe Daniels or Mays falls, because realistically, I think Daniels is going to go pick 2, but maybe it's Maye, and I will take Maye. I like Maye, despite the fact that he went to a basketball school, because I know the story behind it. So, no to JJ, yes to the top 3. Well, only 2 of the top 3, because there's no way Caleb falls to us. And for Michael Penix Jr., do you guys realize that if we draft him in the second round, because we're not drafting him at pick 6, like, that would be stupid. If we draft him in the second round, Evan Neal, who we don't like and we don't think is good, is going to be his blindside tackle. Like, a lot of people don't understand the significance of not having Andrew Thomas and having Joshua Zuda at left tackle, who wasn't a left tackle. He's actually a guard. That's what you could potentially be doing for Michael when he finally comes out there. He might have Neal protecting his blind side, and you got to ask yourself, do you trust Neal to not get beat like Joshua Zudo? And then we end up having 2 injured quarterbacks, because that's the worst place we can be in. The worst place we can be in is where the 49ers was, where you have an injured Jimmy Garoppolo who stinks, just like Jones. Like, a lot of people say, Jones stinks. He was always hurt. That's Jimmy G. And then you draft somebody high or second round, and he's also injury prone, because Michael hasn't been hurt in a long time, but he has an injury history. So I like Michael in terms of throwing, but I understand that he was really good in college because they had a good offensive line. And that's what we're looking to fix. And that's been our forever mission. Feels like we're drafting an offensive lineman every year, and they just don't pan out. Only 1 out of like 8. I'm probably going to have to do a video on the offensive linemen that we've drafted and where they are now. Well, not a fan of Michael for us. I really hope that he goes to Seattle, somewhere where he can actually be successful and be kept safe. I don't want him to get hurt here. And now you go down the list if we can't get that quarterback in round 1, right? Because if you can't get a quarterback in round 1, you have to take Malik. And if Malik is gone, you have to take Rome. If you're not trading back, you could trade back and maybe take another wide receiver or another position. Or maybe you take one of the quarterbacks that you guys like so much in the first round if you trade back. But I think we should go wide receiver. Not having a really good one since Odell is crazy. So that makes sense to me. And if you take that wide receiver in round 1, now who are you going to draft at quarterback? Because most people are still going to say, we still need a quarterback. You go through the draft and you take a wide receiver in round 1, we're probably going to need a cornerback. There's other, positions that we're going to need in the draft. So it's like, if you don't take a quarterback in the second round, who else is on the board, right? Because it's supposed to be pretty deep at the position in terms of quarterback. You got Milton that we could take. Some people like Spencer. I think I like Spencer. He's a wild card, but you never know. Sit for a few games and finally comes in. He might be good. He was a former 5-star recruit. I think most people are saying that they're not sure about his character. So I don't even know if the Giants would draft him, but you never know. And then there's also, I think, Jordan Travis, but he's coming in. I remember he got hurt in college. I don't know if you want to draft a player that got hurt in college, especially in his last season. And so One thing I gotta ask Giants fans though, like, do we have to take a quarterback this year? Like, is it the season is lost if we don't have a new quarterback? Because Drew Lock will probably be the starter if Daniel Jones is hurt, or some of you guys are naive enough to think that he's going to outplay Daniel Jones as a gunslinger. Yeah, and I know a lot of you guys were a big fan of Tyrod Taylor, who did air the ball out a lot more, and I think you will get that from Drew Lock, but I think he will also throw it to the other team because I've watched Gardner Minshew, who I thought was a better suitor for us, but we're definitely not going to pay him the price that he got paid. It's not worth it for a backup. But I remember watching that Jacksonville game and watching this man throw for 300 yards and 3 interceptions. It was horrible. But a lot of you guys, y'all like the ball being aired out and quote unquote giving your wide receiver a chance. And to be honest, a part of that too is the offensive line needs to play better for you to have time to throw it down the field. So we'll see what happens with the Drew Lock situation. More than likely, he'll play if Daniel Jones gets injured. That's when you'll see him. Seems like he's on track to play week 1, but we'll see. You never know. And then we don't know who we're going to draft. Now, I do want to talk about Justin Fields. I'm very annoyed with Giants fans and your obsession with Justin Fields. I've seen fans who basically think we should trade for Justin Fields, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is a lateral move because when you look at Justin Fields' numbers, his throwing numbers ain't all that. I feel like he needs to go to a team that plays in the dome. This dude was complaining that it's so windy and how his balls are getting affected by the wind. And I feel like that's not going to be an issue for Caleb. So if that's not an issue for Caleb, maybe you're just not that good. Now, if you want Justin Fields and you want to convert him to running back, then I understand it. That's the way I feel about Justin Fields. I feel like he's a less talented Lamar Jackson. And a lot of you guys didn't want Lamar Jackson because you were worried about his injuries. And I was kind of worried too. Lamar is from my area, so I'm a fan of Lamar Jackson, and he's a game changer. But at the same time, I knew if he came here, he'd probably get hurt. Might be the same thing for Justin Fields. He was injured this past season, so I don't think we should trade for Justin Fields at all. Like, don't even consider it. Unless you're going to convert Justin Fields to running back, there's no reason to trade for this dude. His arm is not that great. If you think Daniel Jones is more accurate, y'all not going to like that, but he is more accurate than Justin Fields. He's a better thrower of the football. Justin Fields is a better runner. That's the trade-off. However, with Daniel Jones, if you stay with him for another season, does that mean that Joe and Daboll's going to get fired? Because I've been hearing that too, but I'm like, if you gave him a deal that allows you to cut him next summer, how can you fire the GM? Why not just keep the GM and the coach and then draft one of the top 4 quarterbacks from next year who should be better than J.J. McCarthy, if not just as good? But I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Are y'all really that quarterback hungry where we feel like we need to have a quarterback this year no matter what?